If you're looking for the curviest EV with the most squares, this is it, the Hyundai Ioniq 6. I'm Tom Voelk for the Seattle International Auto Show, and this is a very unique vehicle.
I've driven this EV at the press launch in Phoenix, Arizona, and liked it enough to grab one for a full week. Better to measure its usefulness in real-world range. That's hard to do with only 7 or 8 hours in a strange city. No doubt the swept Streamliner design pegs the polarization meter at both sides of the spectrum. Think Infiniti J30 and Porsche 911 Turbo S, if they made it.
There's been pricing volatility in the EV segment recently. Part of it is due to the supply chain shortage easing. Also, there are a lot more electric vehicles to choose from. Competition, it's always good. You have to pay attention to price cuts, rebates, and the ever-shifting tax credits, both federal and state. An Ioniq 6 starts at $43,500 for a base SE model that's rear drive. This is a fully loaded all-wheel drive limited. It stickers for $54,700.
At this writing, there's a $7,500 rebate until the plant in Savannah, Georgia starts pumping out EVs towards the end of 2024. This does not qualify for Uncle Sam's tax credit. Check with your state. Powertrain highlights? Well, it's built on the well-regarded 800-volt architecture eGMP platform, same as Ioniq 5 and Kia EV6. The lithium-ion pack is rated at 77.4 kilowatt-hours. Under ideal conditions, using the right DC fast charger, it'll juice from 10 to 80% in as little as 18 minutes. Impressive. A rear-drive 6's range is rated as high as 361 miles by the EPA. With all-wheel drive, this one is supposed to get 270 miles or 435 kilometers. As for the frunk situation, it's big enough to stash a mobile charge cord or a gym bag. Drivetrain components are packaged here instead of here. I know I'd use this space more, my backpack just fits. The all-wheel drive Limited that I'm driving makes 320 horsepower and 446 pound-feet of torque to move a 4,600-pound vehicle. There's a smidge of visual and audible drama. On startup, graphics are clean and configurable. The single-speed transmission selector mounted here saves console space. Recuperation drag is adjustable. This paddle lowers it, this one adds it. The range is wide. Everyone should be happy. Drive modes sharpen or relax throttle response and steering weight. Dampers are fixed.
EVs aren't just about eliminating emissions. They can be better cars, plain and simple. I mean, instant torque off the line. What enthusiast doesn't love that? Plus, dual-motor all-wheel drive really helps on wet, slippery roads like today. This will shoot up to 60 miles an hour in 5 seconds flat, no sweat. And it does it so effortlessly that it's really easy to find yourself 10 or 15 miles over the speed limit, maybe 20. Ask me how I know.
I prefer the hatchback utility of Ioniq 5, but its driving dynamics veer towards soft and floaty. The 6 is more to my liking. This suspension is firmer, with more control. It's a bit lower to the ground, too. The seat of my Levi's feels the center of gravity is dropped. Cornering is more fun.
I've said before that I feel the Ioniq 6 is kind of the poor man's Porsche Taycan. This is literally a third the price. And yeah, the Porsche has better driving dynamics, but this is not bad. It corners relatively well. Not much body roll. There's some semblance of road feel. Steering weight is good. It builds progressively.
A feature that I like, found on higher Hyundai trims, is the blind spot camera. Overall, Ioniq 6's visibility is fine, kind of compromised rearward though. This system adds an extra layer of confidence, a digital wingman.
I like that the volume of the performance tones can be adjusted. Listen. I like my EVs to be completely quiet. You can turn it all the way off.
The suite of ADAS active safety is quite comprehensive. Highway Driving Assist 2 is an excellent semi-autonomous technology. It's not true hands-free driving like Super Cruise or Blue Cruise, but it's confident in the lane, taking gentle curves without issue.
The pedal feel transition between recuperation and the physical hydraulic brakes is smooth and natural, very nicely done. Back the regen off all the way, and this thing will coast forever. Dial it all the way in, and it comes to a complete stop all by itself. I haven't touched the brake pedal, so one pedal driving, definitely a thing here. Something for everyone.
For people on the fence about getting an EV for travel, before buying, map out your most common routes first to see how good the charging network is. ChargeWay is a great app for that.
Range. I'm driving an all-wheel drive limited model, and the EPA rates it at 270 miles. It's been cold and wet in the Pacific Northwest in the low 40s, and I'm seeing closer to 225 or 230. Now, you can add 35 miles of range by going with the rear drive model, and that drops the price by $3,500, but it is less powerful.
Electric vehicles aren't for everyone. Really, home charging is needed for an optimal EV experience. Ioniq comes with 2 years of complimentary 30-minute charging sessions at Electrify America stations. The 6's max charge speed is an impressive 235 kilowatts, but only if the charger can deliver it. For example, the high-speed station that I wanted to use is down. Most terminals near my house peak at 150 kilowatts. The top delivery on these is 50 kilowatts. So a 10 to 80% charge would take an hour and 13 minutes versus 18 minutes for a 350 unit. It's getting dark enough to show the ambient lighting, which can be dramatic depending on the hue dialed up. At home, using 240 level 2, this will fill from 5 to 100% in around 10 hours or while you sleep. The onboard charger is rated at 10.9 kilowatts. The interior is also available in black, which doesn't show off the ambient lighting as well. There are a lot of recycled plastics in here, old fishing nets, maybe that Dr. Pepper bottle you tossed last year, translucent panels, those are cool. This ridge is one long door pull. There are no buttons here. All the window and lock controls are down the center. The roomy space looks good, elevated with materials a grade higher, and it would truly compete with luxury brands. That's what Genesis is for, I suppose. All but the base model seats are covered in H-Tex hide from synthetic cows. Limited's chairs are heated, vented, and comfy enough for even larger drivers. The wheel is leather and toasty. Ioniq 6 has full OTA update ability. If you've been in an Ioniq 5, the layout will look familiar. It's pretty easy to use.
Normally, at this point, I'd be explaining that for full functionality of the user interface, you have to pony up for a monthly data plan, but Hyundai now throws that in for free for the life of the car as long as you're the original owner. And it'll update the map data for 3 years. Most manufacturers only do that for 1, if at all.
Let us now pause and appreciate that there are the right amount of hard controls for easy access. All but the base standard range 6 get a heat pump for the HVAC system.
I have a friend that's 6'3". He rode back here and didn't have any issues at all. I am 5'9" and find the headroom to be maybe a skosh tight. A reminder that everybody's leg to torso ratio is different. You need to sit in a vehicle to see if it works for you. Knee and leg room are very generous. Foot room might be a little bit tight if your legs are really long. They don't go underneath the seat. The roof line of the Ioniq 6 is very swept, and so getting in and out means you need to duck a little bit. But the door openings are big enough so that car seats go in and out, no problem. The floor is bolt flat. That helps with foot room. No separate climate zone in the back. At least there are adjustable vents, places to charge your phone, and a little bit of storage here. Oh, and you can actually power a computer back here. Plus, there's a Wi-Fi hotspot. The The bench is wide enough so that you can get 3 adults back here pretty comfortably, though the middle position is raised up a bit. Put the shorter person there. Ioniq 6 holds 5 pretty well.
The swept rear that gives the 6 a super low 0.22 coefficient of drag means the trunk and its opening are on the small side. It measures out at 11.2 cubic feet, meaning 5 standard carry-on suitcases are good to go in the boot. So every passenger on the way to the airport can stash one here. Personal items will have to go on laps. More choice is always good. Increased competition means better pricing. EVs have become less expensive over the last couple years and better. Add to that reduced fuel costs, no oil changes, and much longer brake life. Ioniq 6's svelte Streamliner shape is museum-grade sculpture. Not everyone agrees on modern art, but buyers that like this get dramatic looks at a fraction of the cost of a Henry Moore. Plus, his pieces aren't drivable. Head to your local Hyundai showroom for a test drive and maybe add it to your art collection. For the Seattle International Auto Show, I'm Tom Voelk.